And welcome back to Sports Check this Monday morning. My name is Daniel Wahome, and it's conversations around sport and the Championship of African Nations. We basically know it as CHAN, and it's taking place in Cameroon. That's where the conversation is. And remember that this tournament is being broadcast live on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner. Our sign language interpreter is Byron Abuli. We continue with our conversation with our football analyst, Gregory Mulemi. And Gregory, we had taken a look at Morocco against Zambia and Guinea playing against Rwanda. But let's talk about the first quarter-final where Mali played against Congo. Mali is a side that tends to show a lot of, youthful talent through the age grade system, under 17, under 20, under 23. But when it came to the African Nations Championship, it turned out to be a different story when they played against Congo. A whole host of wasted chances. Is that really the Mali that we would know?
Not really. I think maybe the approach, they didn't know the kind of Congo side they were going to meet, and a cautious approach to the game is what made it look like a dull affair, missed chances and the such. But don't take it away from them. I still rate Mali highly because of the youth structures. Look at the kind of players they brought into the tournament. They have not brought the so-and-sos of the Mali, the sturdy Malians or some. They've brought in youth players whom I know that maybe in the next 3-4 years you'll see them graduate into the senior team and do something. And that's the Mali we used to know over the years, that they bring in players, new players into the tournament, and then they have that gradual succession in their sides. And I believe that they've made already their point known already in this tournament, reaching the last 4, and then making sure that maybe they'll have a podium finish when they take on Morocco. It will be a tough affair because you look at both sides, experience versus kind of youth, meeting at a very grand stage of the tournament. This will be very interesting.
Then we had the Democratic Republic of Congo play against Cameroon, and DR Congo went ahead. Then we had, the hosts scored 2 goals. Within the first half, the game was done.
People criticize Cameroon for not being able to score. They didn't. Technically, the only 2 goals in the group stages came from a defender, Solomon, who has been very, very outstanding, and
the team captain.
Yeah, the team captain. He scored the only 2 goals that they had scored prior to them meeting DR Congo. But then you look at how they turned up for the tournament. I think they had something in them. They believe that they can capitalize on a weak Congo side, whom I will say that were not ready for this match. You look at the many shuffles in the lineup that were made by Coach Ibenge. It wasn't really supposed to happen that way, because I'm sure if he trusted the same squad that played in the group stages, minus the lacks of Matampi, not that he's a bad keeper or something, but when he came into the match, I don't think he was fit enough to feature. And that begs the question, is the coach in control of the team, or there are some outside forces that are making these players, some of them get fielded, some of them benched? And you could see Congo was completely out of, it wasn't really the Congo, the DR Congo we know. It was just a side that came to honor a fixture, because you look at how they considered the 2 goals very bizarre, in the 2 mistakes that cost them against a Cameroon side that I'm still struggling to find out if they're really good to go to the semi-finals.
Well, the story is Cameroon are in the semi-finals already. Now, Gregory, I want to bring up something else, two issues. One, the bizarre case of 13 tests, positive coronavirus tests from the DR Congo camp. They protested. An order was given that the tests be retaken, and then only 3 players were positive. And we're talking about less than 12 hours. Sometimes they say if you want miracles, don't go to church, go to anywhere there is cough.
To be honest, 13 players prior to the game. Already it disoriented the plans they had heading into this quarterfinal match. But then, as we've always said, why are we using this COVID thing to weapon, as a weapon to, let's say, weaken an opponent? I think that's what we've been seeing, especially in the CAF competitions. Look at the CAF Confederations Cup, the CAF Champions League, running into the finals last year. You could see that, let's say Zamalek was meeting Al Ahly or RC Barkan, find that an influential player tests positive mysteriously. And it's something that we've seen came to haunt the DR Congo. Because if you look at that unit, I don't think there's a better assembled side than the DR Congo side that has a lot of players with vast experience in the CHAN tournament, a lot of players who have that experience and talent. But then saying that on day one, when you conduct your tests, you find 13 players positive. What changes between that? Because we know the quarantine period is around 14 days.
Well, this is a case of 14 hours.
And this is a case of 14 hours. It doesn't make sense. It just shows you that the whole thing is a scam. It's in shambles, and everyone just wants to protect their own interests, especially when they are trying to pass the message across. And we could see that happen. The hosts, I don't know whether it's the hosts or CAF who decided, let's take a nick into this DR Congo side.
The next one that I would like to mention is CHAN a real shop window for players? Some interests that have been shown. Let me mention them. Hamed Belem of Burkina Faso has attracted interest from USM Alger in Algeria. Said Cheyune, his strike is basically a contender for goal of the tournament. He has attracted interest from Al Merrikh of Sudan. And Soumaïla Ouattara of Burkina Faso has attracted interest from Raja Casablanca of Morocco.
Definitely, but you find that the interest comes from Africa, because you find that these players are the cream de la cream of local domestic leagues. And when they came to this tournament, we've seen, like Ouattara, for example, a very good winger, speedy, bullish. He has the pace, he can take on defenders. And I think that is where Casablanca were like, I think we need this kind of player if you want to progress or make an impact in the CAF competitions. And you could see what, like Kiune, that strike.
Saidi Cheyune, yes.
That strike, I think it even deserves a Puskas award. Yeah, because you look at how the few minutes he was given on the pitch by his coach, McKinstry, he proved to them that I think I deserve better. You look at how he performed in a game when he came in, I think, the second match of the group stages. He replaced a veteran and then made a mark. It's something that we haven't seen many players do that. And you look at the URA will now be smiling, saying that, okay, I think we can now export more talent.
Well, the Championship of African Nations, it takes a 2-day break. That means no football today, no football tomorrow. But remember, on KBC Channel 1, we are a true sports partner. So tomorrow, we're going to be having some German football, the DFB Pokal, so do not miss those matches. They're going to be kicking off at 8:30 p.m. and also at 10:45 p.m. Well, let's get back home now and talk about football. We won't start with the FKF Premier League. We'll start with a new competition that started over the weekend, the FKF Women's Cup. In simple terms, the Moy Golden Cup for women. And Gregory, the introduction of this competition, it's an inaugural one. What's the overall impact on women's football that it will have?
Definitely something that will give women a chance, because we know that we have a very good WPL, that is the Women Premier League, already in session as we speak. But then there was no place where first division sides, emerging sides could at least showcase their talent, have their ladies compete in competitive matches, if I might use that word. You look at the teams that have been performing well in the league. They made a mark here. The likes of Ulinzi Starlets, who've been very impressive. The like Kisumu All Starlets, beating the light sides like Vihiga Leeds. This is a competition that I can say it was long overdue. And I'll give FKF thumbs up for trying to fish out talent by unearthing such a competition, because I know as it progresses, the top league sides will start making sure that they get players from these sides that they've faced or played in the Women Cup competition, which I think it's a first of very many good things to come.
Let me just look at some results. Let me start with the Saturday ones. Number one is Nyuki Starlets beating Eldoret Falcons by 4-1. Bomet Starlets holding Oserian Ladies to a 1-1 draw before eventually losing on post-match penalties, and that was at the Bomet Stadium. And Makolanders getting a 2-1 win over Soccer Sisters.
Look at the Macolanda's results is funny because you find that these soccer sisters, they are just young ladies who are coming up. They're not really experienced. But then you look at this side, the sides that won their matches, there was no major upset. You look at, save for the Newcastle Starlets versus Eldoret Falcons. I really didn't expect these results because, you know, Eldoret Falcons are a very good side, especially when they're playing at home. But here, I think maybe Newcastle Starlets had just what they had on the day to make sure that they get they go 4 goals and eliminate Falcons.
So going into the round of 16, how much more action and how much more noise needs to be done to get people to the stadium to watch these women playing?
I'm hoping that fans will be allowed. Definitely no fans are allowed into the stadium at the moment. But then I've seen the Football Kenya Federation stream these games live on their Facebook page, their YouTube channel. It's something that can be of good interest or something positive. If, let's say, they start broadcasting these games from, let's say, that the latter stages, like the round of 16. I know it's an expensive affair, but then it's never expensive if you are exposing these young girls to the public so that people can start having a conversation. 2 years ago, no one knew who Gentrix Wikanga was, but right now everyone is talking about her. The likes of Dogo, the likes of Asia Keda, were it not for this exposure that we've seen in the last 5 years, we could not be talking about them because we always knew that Harambee Starlets was one for the few. Pick one from Macolanda's, Mathare United, then a few sides, and then you assemble a team that, and then you go to Congo, you are beaten, you come back home. But right now you have options. We can actually assemble a squad of 30 without a sweat. And I think such tournaments will bring out more players of the same caliber or even better.
Briefly, you mentioned Mathare United women. They got hammered 5-1 by Sunderland Samba. What's happening with this club?
They're not even performing well in the league. I think they're on a downward trend. They lost so many players, and then I think it also boils down to finances. The girls are not motivated. The preparations are not really the best they've had. There's something wrong about Mathare, even the men team, and it's something that we can have a discussion over. It's something that we really are not used to. We always knew that the hub of Kenyan football was always with the Mathare United women's team. But right now we have that, we've seen wings spread to other places. And I think if we start talking about that, then finances come in. Are they really getting enough to prepare for these games?
Well, Gregory, now let's move on to the FKF Premier League. Gor Mahia got a 3-1 win over Bandari yesterday. Is Gor Mahia now turning out to be the club that we know, 5 on a trot?
Not really. Remember, they lost last time to Vihiga at home. They won against Bandari. They always have a very good record against Bandari. And you look at how they approach the match. I think maybe they need 3 or 4 such kind of performances to make sure that everyone accepts that they're the best in the country. But for this season, they've already lost 4 games. 3 in the league. It's not really something that we are used to. At this point, we know Gor Mahia is always in the top 4, if not top 3, and then winning the rest of their matches. But right now, things have changed a little bit. Many sides are contesting fairly, and you look at how they've been performing of late. The Mashemeji Derby coming up this weekend. This will be very interesting.
And Tusker FC, top of the table at the moment. How much change is happening in that club under Robert Matano?
If I quote what he said that, remember, this league is a marathon. If I lost the Open against Leopards, does not mean that I lost everything. And from that, he's already built a squad and confidence in the squad, and it's really helping him get these results. I can point out a few notable mentions, the likes of Henry Major, one of the finest young talents we have in scoring vital goals, creating those chances, and it just shows you what Matano is trying to do, build a young squad that might be sustainable in the future. And we know Matano is the best coach to bring up and nurture these young lads. Remember when he was at Ulinzi Stars, when he was at FC Leopards, when he was at Sofapaka, then at Tusker again. So he's one of the most experienced coaches, and he trusts these young players, the likes of Majak, the likes of Major. These are players that I'm sure if they were in other teams, they could not be getting more minutes in the pitch, just like what Matano is doing, and they're repaying him back.
And then Mathare United is a team that they lost to. You mentioned it. how much of a revolution is happening? I mean, football-wise, you'd expect, you know, them to have it right. Question is, how do you push?
I don't know how far you can push Mathare United, because over the last 5 years they've really been struggling. In that sometimes they sign deals with some betting firms over the sponsorship. The money is too little, or it doesn't even trickle down to the team. So many changes, players walking out, and you look at this squad, most of these players that were signed by Salim Ali, these are players who might have run out of contract, or some of them were out of action or free agents. And it's something that really shows in the pitch, because you look at the performances right now, they just reflect of how poorly, or rather how the squad assembled is not well enough to compete in the top tier. But something that is really worrying me is the trend by some of the fans, Mathare United fans, and I can always say it's not good to confront, let's say, people if the results are not working your way. The incidences at Kasarani yesterday were not really nice, whereby a section of the fans decided to confront coach, the club, the MISA director, that is Bob Munro, wanting a piece of him for what they claim are not good results going their way. And if you are a football fanatic, if you're a football stakeholder, you know the kind of job Munro has done in this country. He deserves some respect. Things might not work out now, but maybe whatever is done in the last 2 decades needs to be recognized.
Well, talking about the FKF Premier League, AFC Leopards, what's just going right at the club, defeating Posta Rangers by 2-1 on Saturday? They
were promised a house, a 3-bedroom house each. I don't know how actually that will materialize, because but we'll wait and see. But you look at the team right now, they're playing with good mojo, confidence.
All right. Let me interrupt you, Gregory, because right now we've got to join our reporter Gladys Mungai, who is at the Sagana State Lodge, and she is covering President Uhuru Kenyatta's tour of the Mount Kenya region. Let's go over to you, Gladys. All right, Gladys Mungai, once she gets ready for that, and she is at the Sagana State Lodge. And remember that President Uhuru Kenyatta is on a 4-day walking tour of the Mount Kenya region. Started Friday, was also happened on Saturday, Sunday, and this should be the last day of President Uhuru Kenyatta's tour of that place. Let's talk about AFC Leopards, Gregory, before we get back to Gladys. They were promised a 3-bedroom house. Okay, yes, looks like, Gregory, looks like we've got Gladys Mungai ready. Gladys, over to you. All right, so Gregory, AFC Leopards.
They're just getting their mojo after 2 horrendous defeats to Stima and Wazito. I think the coach tinkered a little bit with the lineup, because the players who started the season were like too complacent, and it's a problem that happens with the Kenyan football, whereby when you're given a chance, you become complacent. Right now, he's trusted a young player, the likes of Lewis Bandi, who's really done very well at left back, and then Rupia is scoring goals for fun. He's a man in form right now. I think Modo has realized that sometimes you don't need to go toe-to-toe with these other sides. Like I can take an example. Before the Posta game, there was a game they played against Kariobangi Sharks, who are ball players. They can pass the ball, things like that. He decided to go for a route 1 football, whereby he could use the long balls just behind the defenders, and you could see it bore results. Against Posta Rangers, I could see the same thing, whereby they capitalized on the little mistakes by Pamzo's side to make sure that they scored the goals. You look at the goal scored by Rupe, it was a slight rebound. The second goal also a rebound off a free kick by Austin Odhiambo. So he knows these moments will be used, and that's what the Leopards have been using, and it's working for them. I believe that it's something that they'll adapt to, and it might work for them in a long time. These are the results that they really needed, if at all they want to get back there.
KCB, where's the momentum? Looks like it's just not right at the top.
I think it's crippling down the overconfidence is crippling down because you look at how they went to Nakuru. I could see most of them. They were practicing, how do you call them, celebrations.
Celebrations, yes. There was a video that leaked where they were trying to do something the equivalent of, like a guard of honor to celebrate goals if they score against
You don't do that. It's only match day 8, I don't know, match day 10. It's too early in the season to start thinking that you've already won the league. And I think Zico should tell his players that, look here, you have the qualities to make sure that you see this to the tape. You can score these goals, but then take one game at a time. I think overconfidence has started creeping in, and we know what can happen when you decide, okay, we can do this thing on our own. KCB, right now they know that they are no longer top. I don't know how they're going to approach the next match, but then, just like Matano said, I'll repeat, this league is a marathon.
Well, Gregory Mulemi is talking about the FKF Premier League. Over to England, and the noisy game on Saturday ended scoreless. Arsenal versus Manchester United. Your take on how that game went down?
In fact, there was a better match when DR Congo was playing Cameroon.
Cameroon, yes.
Yeah, but then this was a board draw. This was a board draw because if you watch the highlights, there's nothing much to separate the two teams. And I think it creeps down to maybe the number of matches these players have played since the turn of the winter. That is in January.
I mean, they're playing every 3 days.
Yes, after every 72 hours, you're playing again. So I can't really fault any of those managers. I think things just didn't work out. But then for Manchester United, this result was very detrimental because you look at how they were approaching They were top of the table 3 weeks ago. Everyone knew that now maybe the Manchester United is back. But then they started losing points. Sheffield United beating them at home. And then Arsenal picking a point against them. So Manchester United, I think they need to do something because whom do they lack? No one. They've not lost anyone through a major injury or something. Maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is just naive. Sometimes he picks the right squad, sometimes he picks the wrong squad, and it's something that we've seen flip-flopping in the last 2 seasons. They need to do better.
Let me talk about Sheffield United. They played against Manchester City, lost by a goal to 0. And the question, they may be bottom of the table with just 2 wins all season, but what's not clicking with this side? Because they're not getting hammered. That's a strange thing. They're losing, but they're not getting hammered.
Tactically, they're one of the best teams to watch in the league because you look at even the kind of goals they score, the movement of every player. Everyone is industrious. I think they're not just lucky. They remind me of Norwich last season. A very good side, but the results are not just going their way. And I think Sheffield might not get relegated.
Well, that will be interesting to watch. We'll be coming back to close that conversation. But right now, our reporter Gladys Mungai is ready over at the Sagana State Lodge. And remember that President Uhuru Kenyatta is on a 4-day walking tour of the Mount Kenya region. Gladys, give us an update.
Good morning to you, Wahome, at Broadcasting House in Nairobi County. We are coming to you live from the Sagana State Lodge in Nyeri County. This happens to be the 4th day of the President's official visit in the Mount Kenya region, where he's been stamping authority as being the region's kingpin. And we've seen right from day 1, the President meeting members of the County Assembly as well as members of Parliament and senators. And the 2nd day, he met leaders from this region and people and multitudes of persons from the Mount Kenya region. Over 5,000 delegates are trying to stamp our authority and matters to do with the unity of the nation, as well as championing for the support of the BBI initiative. So what is currently ongoing today is that the President is currently in a closed-door meeting with governors from 10 counties from this region, as well as matters to do with cabinet secretaries and permanent secretaries from this Mount Kenya region. This happens to be a tour of the President from this region, basically taking a track on matters development in this particular region. The President is also expected to tour various developmental projects and to assess the progress made since 2017, the projects that were initiated since that time. We also saw the president yesterday speak to members of the young groups, that is the youth from this region, where he met over 3,000 youth from this region are trying to appeal to the youth, to the larger youth from the nation, basically not to get swayed into falling prey of politics of divisions. And the president says that the young people should take charge on matters to do with this nation, and they should propel the nation the way they want this nation to take shape. And he's saying that if this region and the nation is not united, the country risks falling into the gains that have been made since the handshake was between him and his newly found ally, former Premier Raila Odinga. Risks getting lost if youth, which makes a larger population in this country, happens to fall prey to the politicians who are seeking to divide the nation. That is the latest from the Sagana meetings by the President Uhuru Kenyatta. President was also expected to meet a group of women leaders from this region to discuss matters to do with the BBA report, as well as to do with unity of this region and the nation at large. We'll be giving you latest briefings from that particular meeting with the governors. We expect, perhaps you're not very sure if after that meeting the president is going, or the governors from this region are going to address members of the fourth estate, but we're just keeping tabs with the events as they unfold in that particular meeting, and we'll be giving you more details in regards to that. Back to you, Wahome.
Thank you very much, Gladys Mungai. She is our reporter at the Sagana State Lodge, where President Uhuru Kenyatta is on a 4-day walking tour of the region and meeting with the governors today. And there was a scheduled meeting with women leaders that has been postponed due to unavoidable circumstances. Gladys Mungai will be giving us an update on what transpires in that meeting between President Uhuru Kenyatta and the county leadership from that region. Well, we'll be getting into the final part of our conversation about sport and football, specifically in the EPL. Gregory Mulemi is our analyst here. And Gregory, let me talk about Everton. This is a club that started the season, basically, I would say they were heavily on, they were right at the top. But then they lost to Newcastle United by 2-0. What's not clicking at Everton at the moment?
First of all, the loss of Alan. He was one of the best players in that side. But then you look at football has its history. Everton are just trying to create history, by the way. From 1985, they've never won anything or challenged top honors. It's also over-reliance on the same kind of players, James Rodriguez, Calvert-Lewin, the likes of Seamus Coleman. These are players that everyone knows their kind of style of play, and it's really affecting them. If you look at how they've been lining up against Newcastle, nobody expected them to lose, to be honest, because Newcastle are also on a downward trend. Everton, to me, I think it's just a disappointment, and Ancelotti knows that this is not what he really expected. I remember we had a conversation here at the start of the season. We said that Everton could be challenging for the league title this season. Look, starting the league at a skyrocketing speed, winning 5 on a trot. Everyone was like, yeah, this is the side. But right now, they are just flat. Nothing is moving. And I think also Pickford is not the best goalie for that team. You look at the kind of mistakes he's committed over the last 5 games, mistake after mistake after mistake. It's not really good for the team.
Leeds United, are they turning out to be the force everyone thinks they can be?
Inconsistency also. You look at how they've been playing. In recent times, at least, they've tried to bring back that mojo they had when the season started. But then they don't have that vigor, or they don't have that consistency that we need, and it's something that is really affecting them. They beat Leicester. Very commanding performance, outstanding. But then you'll find that they might not put this out in the next 2 or 3 days, and it's something that I believe Bielsa needs to address. But then they're exciting to watch.
Well, I want to move to La Liga and Real Madrid. Just what's happening at the White Shirts?
Transition is difficult, and you can see Zidane is trying to build a squad that will be formidable, let's say, for the next 2-3 seasons to come. And the young players is using he's not demanding so much of them. And you can see it's already happened. He's trying to face out the likes of Marcelo, Benzema, Sergio Ramos, the Toni Kroos. These are players that are aging and they need replacements. And you can see the kind of players Zidane is using most of the time, the likes of Mendy. These are very good young players who I believe will be very useful in the next few seasons to come. But for this season, I think it's gone. Looking at Atletico, I think they've stretched their lead to 10 points.
Yes, 10 points.
Look at how Atletico are playing this season. It's like they know that this is the chance to beat Barcelona and Real Madrid for the title.
Well, Gregory, Barcelona, another team in transition? Another
team in transition, but then they're not just picking the right kind of players, because when you sign 32-year-olds and then you want to transition. Right now they want Jorginho Wijnaldum from Liverpool. He's already 31. They have Pjanic. It's not really making sense. The controversies that are also coming up, Messi's contract published, it really I know it will create jitters in that dressing room, because you look at those numbers, they're staggering. It will really affect them, and I think Barcelona are on a downward trend. I really don't know if Koeman is the right man to get them out of there.
And also there is a financial problem at the club, so that's going to be a big one.
It's a big one, because Messi's contract just shows you that there are so many imbalances in the team. What will the other players do? It will be like, why is it only Messi that is getting all these favors? Why not Ter Stegen, who's been outstanding all this season? Why not Piqué or someone else?
Gregory Mulemi, he's our regular football analyst, giving us insights into football, the Championship of African Nations, the FKF Women's Cup, the FKF Premier League, the EPL, and also La Liga. I'd like to say thank you very much to everyone who's made this possible, the production team and you, the viewer. Coming up next is our Swahili News Magazine, Tamrini. It's going to be hosted by Suleiman Yeri. Our sign language interpreter has been Byron Abuli. From me, have a good day.